Isolation changes people more than what they realise. And I don't mean spending a weekend alone or needing some space. I'm talking about real isolation. The kind where you slowly disconnect from people without even noticing it's happening. Because that's the dangerous part. It doesn't always happen at once. Sometimes your whole world gets smaller year after year. Until one day you realise that you're barely connected to anything anymore. And honestly, I think there's a lot of people living like that right now. After everything that happened to me when I was younger, I withdrew from life for years. Not dramatically and not publicly, but just quietly. I stopped wanting relationships, I stopped wanting to socialise. I even stopped wanting to have people too close to me. And see, at first, that actually felt safer. No drama, no disappointment, no stress. I'd go to work, come home, sit and play the computer, sleep, and then I would just repeat the same thing again tomorrow. And eventually, that routine just became my life. And then there's parts that people don't really talk about, because isolation doesn't really feel like pain when you're in the middle of it. Sometimes it actually feels peaceful. And that's why it's dangerous. Because that's when you start convincing yourself that you're protecting your peace, you're avoiding drama, you're better off alone. But see, really, you're just disconnecting from life. And things get pretty scary when you adapt to that. And you know, after a while, that just becomes normal. Then COVID happened. And honestly, that validated the way that I was already living. Everybody else suddenly stayed inside too, so things kind of felt normal. But then the world opened back up again, and I realised something, that I didn't really know how to reconnect with life because isolation changed me. It made me colder and more detached, more comfortable being alone than understood. And I think that this happens to more people than what we realise, because isolation changes your identity slowly. You don't just wake up one day completely disconnected. It happens quietly through habits, avoidance, stress, disappointment, even emotional exhaustion. You slowly become somebody who mostly exists in their own head. And eventually, you stop feeling like yourself. But here's the thing that I've been realising lately. Just because isolation became your normal does not mean that it has to stay your future. I think that a lot of people are waiting to suddenly feel ready to reconnect to life again. But that moment probably never comes. You rebuild connection through small decisions. Replying to that message, going outside, speaking honestly, letting people see you again. Now, I'm not saying that that fixes everything overnight, but I do believe that people start coming back to life slowly. One conversation, one routine, and one step at a time. And honestly, that's part of why I started Endless Rise Project, because I know what it's like to disappear into your head for years. I know what it's like to just survive life instead of living it. But I also know this. Just because isolation changed you doesn't mean you need to stay there forever. You can reconnect with life again. It'll be slow, it'll be imperfect, and it'll be awkward. But it will be genuine. And maybe that's what Rise naturally is.